Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Woodland Reboot. Oh my goodness, this weather. We've had a couple of very nice days during the last few weeks, but overall, it has not been a warm, sunny spring. Lots of cloud, chilly. I mean, yesterday, close to 0 Celsius out here in Eastern Ontario. Okay, in the last video you saw me assemble, put together, and start moving around this scaffolding, this thing that I'm also calling the Roman siege tower. It's mobile. It's going to allow me to do scaffolding on these gable ends that you can see just up in the left-hand corner of the screen here. But I've got to get some other work done. It's not so much that I have to get it done. I've got some other projects and some ideas I want to do with these acres, these approximately 11 to 12 acres. So before I start using my Roman siege tower, this mobile scaffolding that I've built, I want to get into these back acres and start clearing some of it up. So in terms of trying to open up my land, this is what a lot of my land looks like. This prickly ash, I think it's called prickly ash, was everywhere. And when I first bought the land, you literally had to fight your way through bushes like this to get around and see the territory. Now, you can see right there, I mowed a pathway. That pathway I put in last summer, and that pathway continues along that way to the corner of the land way out there in the distance. And these are the trails that I put in that I was using for my cross-country trails. And I also have some land like this. I have several acres that's just overgrown. It's not as bad as that area that has all that prickly ash, but it just hasn't been maintained for probably more than a decade. Luckily this isn't overgrown, but it needs to be mowed back and cleaned up a little bit. There are massive juniper trees out here. So what I need to do is go get my big beautiful John Deere tractor, do some maintenance on it, swap out the winter attachments for the summer attachments, and get working in these back acres, get them cleaned up. Let's go get that tractor ready. Did I fool anyone? If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know I don't have one of those monster John Deeres, one of those 100+ horsepower tractors. You know I've got myself a nice little 20 horsepower John Deere lawn tractor. Do I wish I had one of those big monstrous bad boys? Of course. However, it would be overkill. So I've got my nice little John Deere, and when I need more power and more attachments and more capacity, I can rent it from a nearby rental shop. As you can imagine, guys, this is seasonal maintenance for the mowing deck. Again, this is going back on now that it's moving into the spring and the summer season. And the beginning of every season, it's a good thing to have a look at the condition of your blades and either replace them if they're too beat up or sharpen them like I've just done here. Get this back on. I always put some sawdust on the ground because I usually make a mess when I change oil, especially with small little engines like this in tight little areas. I think you're going to see here that I do drop some oil on the ground eventually. I warmed up the tractor for about 3 to 5 minutes before doing the oil change. Obviously get the fluid, the oil nice and warm, easy to flow, and get it out of the tractor. With the dirty oil out of the engine block, I can go ahead and clean up the drain plug area and then get the cap back in place. On the other side, I get the old oil filter off and out of the way.
just to lubricate that seal and prevent it from becoming a problem in future when we want to take it off so it doesn't stick.
And then it's time to fill it up with some nice, clean 10W30 motor oil and get this thing moving.
Go, Blue, go! Over here, Blue.
I attached the trailer to the tractor because I wanted to take my chainsaw and some other tools to open up some of the entry points of the back acres as well. Behind the camera, just off to my right, is the 32 by 48 pole barn, my shed, and some other things that I've built. That's essentially up near to the road. The majority of my acres are back this way. I've opened up a couple of these pathways through these old fence lines. But what I need to do, for example, here at this opening is widen a bit. I need to take that cedar tree out of the way, that cedar tree out of the way, and one back there. Okay, that's the first lot done. I'm going to pull out the chainsaw just to clean up some of the branches that are hanging out here. You'll see that I've left these about a foot above ground. My idea is to get back in here with some kind of excavator or backhoe during the summer, and leaving them protruding out of the ground like this gives the backhoe or excavator something to grab onto, easier for removal. But the idea here is to get in here. I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but there's quite a hump here and a drop. So it would be to smooth that out so I'd be able to drive my pickup truck through here.
Okay, so I'm here in those back acres that I was telling you about, and I've started clearing. I created access, and now I'm starting to clear this area back here so I can start to use it. And what I'd like to do today, I don't know if you can see it down there past Blue, and it's a far shot with the GoPro. There's a massive juniper bush. I want to get that up and out of the way. There are a couple more behind the camera that I might try to tackle this morning. But other than that, I think it's the first thing I'm going to do right now in this area is I'm going to get the trailer off the lawn tractor, and I'm going to run around with the lawn tractor, mowing down where the tall grass exists off to my left there, but also heading back into these rough areas back here. Okay, those are the main yard clearing tasks that I'm going to partake in a while. Once I get access to the stores, once they open up again, I'm going to go rent that walk behind and try to see if I can knock back some more of this and the bush in the corner. I actually think I can hear some coyotes off in the distance over there. They're not too far distance. Blue is quite alerted to it. They're yipping, yapping. Just not quite loud enough for the camera to pick up. But anyways, there's a lot of nice land back here, and I'd like to open it up like I said. And maybe even plant some other type of trees. Yeah, you can hear them yipping back there. There must be a den, I'd probably say 1/4 of a kilometer away.